You're listening to the Platform Launchers podcast. I'm John Stange, and it's great to have you with us as always, because here we love to talk about building and growing and monetizing your online platform. We love talking about taking your passion, turning it into a platform, and helping you earn a paycheck from that. And speaking of paychecks, this week we're going to be talking about this idea of selling. And one of the things that I have noticed through the years in talking to people about building their online platforms or monetizing their online platforms, many people have told me throughout the course of their time in doing this that one of the biggest hurdles that they wrestle with is getting over the fear of selling. Now, it's been a while since we've talked about this concept, and so I wanted to revisit it. And I'm going to share a few principles this week that I find particularly helpful. So have that in mind. But before we get into that, I want to just reintroduce you to my good friend, Brad Miller, who has a very special event coming up. Brad, take it away. Tell us about the event.
Thank you, John. Hey, I want to share with you quickly about podindy.com. That's PODINDY.com, which is a one-day, one-track podcasting conference on how you can take a podcast and profit from it and build an online business with that, or even a brick and mortar business, enhance that, enhanced by AI. We have the author of Profit from Your Podcasting, Dave Jackson, who's going to be our keynote speaker, and we want you to be a part of it. It is November the 9th, 2024. It is live and in person in Indianapolis, Indiana, but it is also virtual for only $27. You can be a part of this event, and it will enhance your life. And if you use the code JOHN, you're going to get 15% off your virtual ticket or your live ticket for that matter. We hope to see you on November the 9th, 2024. That is podindy.com, PODINDY.com. I'm Dr. Brad Miller. I look to see you that day.
Awesome. Podindy.com. Definitely check it out. And if you end up registering for the conference, make sure you use the promo code John. Brad has given a nice discount to our group and to our listening audience here on Platform Launchers. Or if you are watching us via YouTube, make sure you use that code when you go to podindy.com. Now, I mentioned just a moment ago that this week we're talking about selling. Specifically, we're talking about the fear of selling. This is something that many of us in the online entrepreneurial space seem to wrestle with. I think sales can be a scary topic for a lot of people. But again, for entrepreneurs, we are no exception. We are message-based entrepreneurs, and sales can be a scary topic for us as well, because we know that we need to learn to actively sell. I guess that's the better way to say it. But most of us have seen that done so poorly that we hesitate to invest ourselves in learning how to do that well. I think a lot of people really don't want to be seen as someone who has something to sell. And yet, even still, I'm sure that most of us can think of some sales experiences that we've had in the past that were primarily positive. Not all sales experiences are negative. Many of them are quite positive. And there are a lot of things that we can learn from experiences like that. And I'll tell you one that happened over the course of this past week, over the course of the past 7 days in my life, that was a very good sales experience for me. It was time for our family to update our auto and home insurance policies. And so every year when it's time for us to do that, I actually do a little shopping. I've discovered years and years ago in my early adulthood, I thought that there would be benefit from remaining a loyal customer to insurance companies. And I've discovered over time that they just are happy to take advantage of customers like me by jacking up their prices over and over and over again. So somewhere along the way, I realized I should do some shopping each year when it's time to update those policies. And so I did that. It was time to renew the policy. So I looked to see if I could save some money. And believe it or not, this is where parenting pays off. You ready for this? Based on a recommendation I received from one of my sons, I called an agent that he's used in the past. So my son gave me this recommendation. I felt so honored and so blessed to actually receive an insurance agent recommendation from one of my own children. And so I contacted him. I contacted this agent that my son gave me his number, and without a lot of fanfare, without a lot of wasted time, the guy didn't bore me or anything like that. I actually know a few people who have utilized his services, but he quoted me various prices. and offered to lock them in place for a little while. There was one option that I could select, offered that being locked in place for a while. But when I did the math on how much it saved me, I saved over $2,000 from what I paid last year for the same exact coverage. Same exact coverage, $2,000 less. Obviously, as you can imagine, I was thrilled. And I'm saying that as an example related to sales, only to say that sales doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be negative at all. In fact, I would argue that sales can be a very positive experience once you create a product or offer a service that makes the lives of other people better, and you become convinced that it actually will make the lives of other people better. And if you do that, there are people who will not only buy what you're selling, but they will thank you for making it available to them. And I'll tell you what else I did today. One of my co-professors at the university that I teach at, I heard that he was looking for insurance. I gave him the number of the guy that I just used the other day. I made that recommendation and encouraged him to actually check that out. And so now I'm spreading word of this particular insurance agent. But I would say, in regard to you, in regard to your online platform, your message-based online platform, I think it could be argued that if you have created something beneficial, you have an obligation to make it available to others. But if you're currently afraid of selling, if this is something that you wrestle with, I would like to suggest 9 principles that can make sales much less scary. Now, I will confess to you, I have shared each of these principles in the past, but it's been a really long time since we talked about them. And so I want to revisit these concepts because I think it's helpful. It's helpful for me. I hope it's helpful for you. But I want to share 9 things that I find particularly helpful when it comes to overcoming the fear of selling. And the first one is this. If you're going to overcome that fear, the first thing you need to do is this. Be convinced that you've created a helpful and valuable product. Be convinced that you have created a helpful and valuable product. And the best way to be convinced that you've created something helpful and valuable is to actually test it and use it, then refine it and share it. But once you become certain that you've made something good, you're not going to be as hesitant to share it. I think our hesitancy often surfaces because maybe there's a part of us that as of yet is not yet convinced that what we've created will actually help somebody else. So step number 1, be convinced that what you've created is helpful and a valuable product. Second thing is this, and this is kind of a mindset suggestion, but I think it's rather practical. Number 2 on my list is don't just sell, offer. Now, what's the distinction that I'm trying to make here when I say don't just sell, offer? Well, I like to make the things that I'm creating available for purchase, but I don't like confrontational sales tactics. I don't like being confrontational when it comes to sales at all. And I'm 100% certain that the content and the services that I'm producing will teach people new skills, will save them time, will earn them an income, will improve their lives, but I can't convince them of what they don't want to believe. All I can do is offer the products and offer the solutions that I've developed. And it's my job to make them aware of the fact that these things exist. So I offer the fruit of my labor and I offer the fruit of my experiences to others. But I look at it this way. They can choose to purchase what I offer or they can reject it. Their decision is not up to me, nor do I need to pressure myself to feel one way or another over whether or not people utilize the content or the solutions that I have created. So don't just sell, offer. There's a big difference in mindset. All right, number 3. This is a huge one. I think for some people, this might be the main thing that they need to hear. But number 3 on my list is this. If we're going to get over our fear of selling, give publicly and sell privately. Give publicly and sell privately. So I'll ask this as a question. Are you friends with a few people online who always seem to be selling, particularly through their social media? Do you meet people that are like that? I think that's a mistake. And I think that you've seen it and I've seen it way too much. And there's a few different categories. I see some people go overboard with this, but they've always got something to sell. They're always selling something via their social media. And as a result, I think people actually tune that out. I think you can sell on occasion via your personal social media, but for the most part, Your public offerings, the things that you share about on your social media, should be more about giving and sharing. They say give publicly, sell privately. Give publicly and sell privately. Now, if people find value in the things that you're giving away for free, I believe that a percentage of them will follow up with you in private to get greater access to your time, or maybe deeper access to your products and services. So my advice, my encouragement to you would be, don't be the kind of person who always seems to have something to sell. People tune that out pretty quickly. Be a giver instead. Give publicly, sell privately. All right, number 4 on my list is this. Make what you're offering so helpful that purchasing it becomes a no-brainer. Make what you're offering so helpful that purchasing it becomes a no-brainer. So it's my personal goal to offer my audience things that are far more valuable than what I'm charging for those items. That's the approach that I take to literally everything I offer. So if someone joins the membership community I lead, I often say I want them to feel like it's the biggest bargain they've ever got. If someone utilizes any one of my other services or any of my other resources, they buy one of my books, if they buy one of my courses, I want to be able to say that this is going to be a bargain for that person. I want them to be able to say that the value far exceeded the cost. Make what you're offering so helpful that purchasing it becomes a no-brainer. That's number 4. Number 5 is this. Celebrate your sales success, but don't panic if your sales are sometimes slow, because sometimes they will be slow. Typically, when we first launch a product, we can't help but check to see if it made any sales on the first day. I've done that so many times. If I put a new book out or a new course out, I check over and over again, hey, did the sales numbers change? Or what do the sales numbers look like? And if the sales numbers go up, we rejoice. If the sales numbers stay stagnant or don't seem like they're moving in any direction for longer than what we'd prefer, we end up panicking. For many of us, I think that cycle continues on subsequent days as well. If it's a good day, we rejoice. If it's not a good day as far as sales are concerned, we start to panic. But the truth of the matter is that sometimes your sales will be up and sometimes your sales will be down. Don't freak out about it. That's just the way it is. It's just a cycle of product development and product usage. So do what you can to create valuable things and let others know that those valuable things are available, but don't panic if your arbitrary metrics aren't being met, because it might take time for what you've built to gain momentum. Odds are it will take time. It's usually word of mouth that drives the strongest sales growth, but it's impossible to have word of mouth before people actually have the chance to use what you've created. You got to give people the chance to use what you've built, the course that you've made, the book that you've written. Word of mouth develops after people have a chance to start using it. And that's when the sales oftentimes start to grow. Now, number 6 on my list is this: to help us overcome our fear of selling, focus on the results your customers want. I think sales stops being scary when you frame it differently in your mind. If you stay focused on delivering the results your customers are looking for, sales becomes a joy. You begin seeing yourself as a problem solver. Your products and services, they become a way of saying help is on the way. And that's what you're trying to do. So you focus on delivering the results that your customers want and need so that they can succeed. It's an others-centered focus. It's not a focus about you getting what you want. It's the idea of serving them and helping them succeed. And that tends to be a very helpful way to overcome the fear of selling. But here's something else on the list. Number 7, I would suggest, don't be the cheapest option, be one of the best. Now, many content creators are afraid to charge premium prices for their products. And as a result, some race to the bottom of the pricing scale and then fret about the fact that they can't make a living from their work. And I see that happen over and over and over again. You do not have to be the cheapest option to make sales. In fact, many people, myself included, will sometimes, depending on the context, be suspicious of the quality of certain items if the price is too cheap. Make something good and then charge a fair price for it. Now, I'm not opposed to having lower priced offers. I certainly have lower priced offers. You can take a look at what I have at platformlaunchers.com and see that my lowest priced offer is just $7. I have an option on there that's only $7. I have other options that go up in price from there. But the idea is you make something good and then charge a fair price for it, whatever the fair price may be. Customers that are willing to pay for greater quality will also most likely be higher quality customers. They will work with you better. They will be more pleasant to interact with in many respects. Customers who only buy the cheapest options are also historically customers who are most likely to complain or steal your joy or want to use up a whole bunch of time needlessly or whatever it may be. And so I would encourage you to don't be the cheapest option, but be the best. That's number 7. All right, number 8. I only have 2 more here, 8 and 9. Number 8 is this: reward your advocates. So to overcome your fear of selling, reward your advocates. I think one of the best ways to generate sales is to pay others who are willing to make sales for you. For that reason, I'm a big fan of affiliate programs. I use them. I participate in them just in and of themselves, but I also love offering them. So what I do in my case is I love paying commissions to people who sell my products. I actually just the other day gave out it was at least $500 in affiliate commissions just the other day for people that have promoted different things that I make available. And I was happy to do that. The majority of my marketing budget, in fact, is dedicated to financially rewarding my advocates, my affiliates. I feel like if people are willing to advocate for my products and my services, that's obviously going to help me make sales. But the way I should say thank you is I'm more than happy to return that blessing with a financial gift. And so I've worked that into how I build things and how I market things. I actually want to be rewarding people for doing that. So it helps me overcome my fear of selling because I look at it as an opportunity not only to bless customers, but also a second opportunity to be a blessing to those who help me connect with new customers. All right, number 9 on the list. This is the finale. I could probably list a few others, but this is a 9th thing that helps me personally overcome a fear of selling, and I hope it helps you as well. And I think you're going to find this one a bit obvious, but it's also extremely true. Success will help you overcome your fear of selling. Eventually, you will overcome your fear of selling if you succeed. And you stop fearing it because you've just tasted success. The more success that you experience, the less you're going to fear. And I think that this is true in almost all areas of life, but it's particularly true when it comes to sales. As you apply these principles, we've talked about 9 different things in this week's episode here. I think as you apply these things and as you develop a track record of actually making sales, your success will eventually snuff out your fear. As you succeed at doing this, it becomes hard to stay fearful of something you've become familiar with. So just think about it. Just a few words of encouragement, a few words of wisdom. I sincerely hope that this list is helpful to you. These are things that I have found personally helpful, and I'd love to encourage you to revisit this list from time to time if you're ever struggling with self-doubt or if you're fearful of making the fruit of your labor available for purchase. Just keep in mind that there are ways that you could overcome that fear of selling. And I'd love to encourage you to challenge just yourself to overcome that fear and maybe utilize some of these things in this approach. If you haven't visited our website in a while, I'd love to invite you to stop over at platformlaunchers.com. We have a whole bunch of useful things over there. Right on the homepage of the website, you'll see a 21-day platform development planning guide that you can download absolutely for free, and it will help you outline your online message-based platform if that's something that you've been thinking about creating and you're wondering what that should look like. It'll show you some of the basics of building and growing and monetizing an online platform. And if there are ways that we can connect with you further, don't hesitate to reach out. You could always reach out to me, John at platformlaunchers.com. John at platformlaunchers.com. I love hearing from you, and I honestly do my best to return each of the emails that I receive throughout the course of the week. And those of you that have tested me on that know that I try to keep that promise. I try to keep that pledge, so I really do reply. But that's it for us this week. I hope that this was helpful. Don't be afraid to sell. Make sure you offer something valuable to those that need your products, services, and wisdom and all the blessings that you could offer them. It's always so great to be able to spend this time together, whether you're listening via the podcast or watching us via YouTube. And I hope that we have the privilege to see you again right here next week. And in the meantime, have a wonderful week. Take care.